especially the White House. Joining us now to discuss it, Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, Republican of Texas, and Senator Chris Coons, Democrat of Delaware. Senator, Senator Coons, you just heard from Vice President Biden in your caucus. What did he say?
It was a very constructive conversation. It was respectful. He laid out detailed answers to some of the questions members of the caucus had about how will the triggers work, exactly how are the allocations made, what was the process by which this final deal was hammered out, what kinds of protections are there for low-income programs, for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security in particular, the entitlement programs. There was generally a positive response. He helped focus the caucus on the larger good, on how this helps us get past default, and most importantly, why this is a 2-year deal. I was most encouraged to hear that it provides for the appropriations process to move forward this year so we don't end up in another fight just like this in 3 months over the 2012 budget.
You will support it. Do you expect that all of the Democrats in the Senate will?
No, I think there will be some Democrats who will not support it. I am inclined to. I'm going over the details of what I just heard with my team, but I think I'm strongly likely to support it.
Senator Hutchison, I just saw through your Twitter feed that you will vote for the bill as you see it.
Yes, I will. I think it is a small step in the right direction, which is better than a large step in the wrong direction, which is where I think we started with this whole debate. We started talking about tax cuts. That's what the president wanted. Republicans were 100% against that, and we don't have any tax increases in this bill. That was very important. Secondly, of course, I think having the dollar for dollar trade for the debt ceiling to be raised, to have spending cuts is very, very important as a precedent.
Senator Hutchison, I want to get to questions of confidence. First, confidence in the economy overall, and then I want to talk about confidence that the American people either have or don't have in our leadership. Let's talk about the economy, though, first. Do you believe that this act can help to restore confidence in businesses across the country so that they have some level of certainty going forward about that we won't come back and have this kind of fractious debate again 6 months from now? Talk to me about that.
I do think the small businesses are encouraged that they're not going to have a tax increase on top of the cost of the Obama health care program. That's what I hear back home most of all, is people are scared to death of all these new increases and burdens on them, and that's why they're not hiring. But on the economy, I think that we've still got a lot of work to do, and I think we need to make more cuts so that we don't have any danger of a credit rating decrease that would cause interest rates to go up, which would also hurt our small businesses.
Senator Coons, Leader Reid just spoke a few moments ago, and he said, let's put this debate behind us because it's time to get back to the real business, which is jobs and getting the economy growing again. And I'm sure you all agree that the best thing that could happen for all of us would be to have a growing economy.
That's right.
But let me turn the question a little bit. You know, there's a lot of discussion about dysfunction. Is what we just saw over the past couple of weeks and the ultimate outcome, presuming it goes the way we expect, is it evidence of a dysfunctional leadership in this country or evidence that it actually is functioning?
That's going to depend on whether it actually gets passed in the next 24 hours. I do think, as someone who's new to being a member of the Senate and new to Congress, it's striking to me that we seem to only act when we are right up against a deadline, when we seem to have no other option and when the likely outcomes are pretty ugly. Much of the input that I've gotten, either when I was at the Delaware State Fair over the weekend or by phone, email, Twitter, and so forth, folks are very concerned, very upset, very nervous about just how long it took us to reach some sort of an accommodation. I do think one of the best things about this deal is giving clarity to the markets that we're not going to rehash this in 3 months or 6 months. But I'll agree with Senator Hutchison. To some extent, I think this was a missed opportunity to do a much larger deal, to lay down a $4 trillion plan for savings, which would have moved us towards stabilizing our national debt, reducing our deficit as a percentage of GDP. And I'm hopeful that this so-called super committee will make bigger, bolder proposals than are currently expected.
You would have liked to have seen greater cuts, I'm sure. Let me just pose that same question to you. Is this, what we've just come through, evidence that the system works or that it doesn't work?
Well, coming to the conclusion and passing something that doesn't have a default shows that it works. But I do think that all of the back and forth and the difficulty of doing it shows that there is a basic difference between the two parties that will have to be settled in the elections, and that is the philosophy of government. That's what took so long, and I think that's a good thing, because I think people now are seeing those differences and they will be able to make clear choices.
And maybe that's the conversation we need to be having, or it certainly is the one that was behind this. Folks, we have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Senator Coons. Senator Hutchison, thanks for coming back. Back to you in EC.
Thanks, Ty. Straight ahead on the program.